Namaskar. Gross Domestic Product or GDP is coming with a new base year 22-23. There are a lot of questions on that. To answer those questions, we have with us Dr. D.K. Pant. He is a chief economist with India Ratings and Research, better known as INRA. Dr. Pant, thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Dr. Pant, my first question to you, why there is a need to change the base year?
Look, we should not be looking at change in base year with any suspicion. It's a fairly stable, well-known process, and there are different ways, different methodologies by which it can be done, the estimation of GDP. And all of us is documented in system of national accounts by United Nations. So all countries, those who are member of United Nations, they follow that methodology so that you have a comparable income estimate for the countries across the globe. Now, if you look for India, this will be eighth such base revision because we have our GDP numbers right from 1950-51. Now, I'll just take few seconds to give you the different base years. So we had initially 50-51, then 60-61, 70-71, 80-81. Then we had 93-94. Now, why we had 93-94 after 80-81? Because whatever the base on which you are measuring the economy, that has to be a normal year. So 1991 was not a normal year. So we had 93-94. Then we have 99-00. Then we had 2004-5. And then we had 2011-12. Now, post 2011-12, we are now rebasing it at 2022-23. Why? Because again, if you look 2021 to whether we take 2019-20, whether 2021 or whether we say 21-22, all these 3 years were abnormal years. 1991, we had economic growth slowing down. 2021 was COVID impacted. And because of 2021 negative growth, 21-22, you had sharp increase in the growth rate. All the numbers which is there in the GDP estimation, they are not directly available. Some of them comes from the survey. So we have consumption expenditure survey. All right. Now we have the PLFS. We have surveys on the unorganized or unincorporated enterprises. So all these numbers goes into this. So the whole idea of base change is to measure the size of the economy, which is a nominal GDP. We are too much fixated by real GDP, right? The real GDP growth. But the absolute number of real GDP doesn't make any sense. It is not used anywhere. Whether we say the size of the economy, it's the nominal. We say fiscal deficit to GDP ratio, it's nominal. We say current account to GDP, it's nominal. We say debt to GDP, it is nominal. So idea is to measure size of economy correctly. Okay. Unless we have that, we'll not be able to make good policy.
So you use two words, real GDP and nominal GDP. As of now, we were using 2011-12 for the real GDP, and for the nominal GDP, we were taking the current value or the current pricing level. Now we are going to have 2022-23 as the base year. Does this mean the gap between real GDP and the nominal GDP will be less, and both will be showing much better picture, much clearer picture about the economy?
Look, when we talk about the nominal GDP or the current prices, there are different ways to mention it. We are looking at, though it is 2000 current or the nominal, still the weighting diagram in the base year, if say the nominal or current compare with the constant or real, it will be same. All right. Post that, we start doing, start taking out the inflation impact from the nominal or current GDP, and then you reach at the real GDP or the constant price. Now the chances are, when you are measuring the economy on the basis of the current structure, whether it's the structure of production, whether structure of consumption, whether structure of employment or structure of any other thing. Till now, what we are measuring, the estimates we have, is based on the structure which was prevailing 14 years back, 14
Mhm.
to 15 years back, so 2011-12. Post that, both consumption and production structure has changed. Feature phones are very limited, smartphones have increased. CRT, television have gone. We have the plasma and LED or LCD or OLED. Some of these things were not there at all in the 2011-12 period,
Mhm.
right? So if we are measuring that today's production relative to the kind of structure of the production structure or consumption structure available or prevailing in 2011-12, and
Mhm.
more likely that we will have incorrect inference.
Yeah.
It may be, it may be size of economy may remain same or marginal impact, but size of remain economy remaining similar doesn't mean that we should not make changes in the methodology. It does not make sense that we will not make any changes. We are, whatever the limited information, the three reports which NSO has released,
Mhm.
they are talking about kind of number of methodological changes
Mhm.
in the estimation of GDP, which will give us a correct picture. And if
Okay.
we correct it now, not only the correct picture, the future direction will also be the correct, the growth number which will be coming out will be correct.
Okay. So you talked about the gap between real GDP and the nominal GDP, or the difference between, rather, I should use the word difference between real GDP and nominal GDP. And here comes a term which is, I mean, today everybody is talking about, that is called deflator. And today we are talking about double deflator. I mean, first the deflator is one word, and then we are talking about double deflator.
Double. All
So
right.
from a layman perspective, what does
Hmm.
it mean?
See, it simply means what we are doing till now. In the production process, we have a final output.
Mhm.
Say, for example, uh, take example of farmer. Farmer's final output is its farm produce,
Mhm.
and the inputs for which has gone into the production of this farm output are in the form of seeds, fertilizer, labor, electricity, diesel, etc., etc. Right now, things were the same deflator. So when we journey from current prices or the nominal to a base year reference prices, so you have to take out the inflation impact.
Mhm.
Right now, it was the same deflator which was being used in a journey from nominal to real, but the double deflation method implies that you deflate output by a particular deflator and use a different deflator for the inputs which are being consumed. So that is why we are talking about the double deflator, and which gives a better picture or correct picture of the real growth, because this has been a criticism by various analysts or the commentators that we are using a single deflator, and because of that, what is happening, the real GDP growth is turning out higher.
Okay.
To be fair with the government, you cannot introduce like we are moving from single deflator to double deflator at random in between.
Mhm.
So when there is a time when they are changing the methodological changes, at that time the double deflator is being introduced. Now we'll see how from the uh, today evening's numbers will have 22, 23 to 25, 26 numbers. So how
Mhm.
that has, what kind of impact it has made on your real GDP growth.
Okay. So, I mean, the double deflator is used, and if I can remember correctly, sir, it is also part of the SNA 2008 when the IMF also talked about changing in methodology. And at the
Mm.
same time, we should also remember that IMF has criticized some of the data calculation, which put a question mark on the overall GDP figure. Do you think that
Mm.
the methodology which have been adopted for the new series will
Mm.
certainly help in a way to tackle these kind of criticism?
Look, whatever the three reports as I mentioned earlier, they talked about following SNA 2008. There are methodological changes which are being proposed. Say, for example, the double deflator was one. They have talked about how the household sector will be treated. They talked about how the household savings, which till now was a totally leftover or the residual of the other sector, what kind of changes they are going to make in that.
Mm.
The latest use of the latest consumption expenditure survey, PLFS survey, unincorporated or unorganized sector survey. I think these the modification or changes should satisfy IMF, or if not, then mm, uh, based on whatever is available, it gives an impression that the government has done a reasonably good job.
Okay.
Now, people will argue, no, you don't have the population number. Yes, since it didn't happen, then whether to wait till the census process to be over and then go after do these changes 2 years from now, I think somewhere we have to draw a line.
Okay. Now, my final question to you, that the composition of our GVA and GDP, gross value added and gross
Mm.
domestic product, we always say that services has a very high share, that's a 53-54%. Then we have the industry, and finally agriculture. Now, when we are talking about bringing some of the cash crops and other crops also, rather than just the traditional crop, do you think that the share of services, industry, and agriculture will change in the new series?
Well, Shishir, this will be a wild guess because if you do read between the lines and all those reports and all those, what was happening is till now, if a company or if an entity is into four or five different activities,
Mhm.
some of them could be manufacturing, some of them could be services. Unlikely that we'll have agri industry services by the same company or same entity.
Mhm. Mhm.
Till now, it was being done. How it was being done? It was being done as the any sector which is giving the maximum contribution, right? And this is a standard term which we use you used to do surveys in the household survey. We used to do the profession of the household is the source from where they derive the maximum income. So that was being given as the characterized as the industry of services.
Mhm.
Imagine a situation, a manufacturing entity is also into the services sector,
Mhm.
or a service sector industry is also in the manufacturing. Now, because the kind of corporate sector database they have, they will be in a position to segregate how much is manufacturing and how much is services.
Mhm.
Now, a priori, then chances of that your agri share going up drastically are very less. And I would not like to be in the guess game like manufacturing will increase or services will increase because
Okay.
it is very difficult to make a guess on that.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Pan, thank you very much for giving such a detailed explanation about various issues and various questions which are being asked at this moment for the new series of GDP. Thank you very much.
Thank